Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. So if you haven't already, hit the subscription button down there in the corner. Now, we did the Ike yesterday. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope it was a surprise and everything you thought it would be. We are now going to be doing the downhill descent portion of the eastbound Ike Gauntlet Challenge. And we're gonna flip this around here. All right, guys, so you'll see it here in a minute where some of the guardrails have been wiped out over time, and you know, the road has these nasty ruts in here and stuff like that. So if you get anything from either one of these videos, the Ford or the Chevy video, I want to implore you to take away these ruts that are on the eastbound side. Those are from big trucks coming down there. They've carved these huge ruts, and man, it is something that will yank you around. It can throw you off the road. So I just want you to be very, very careful with that. So, and even when I come down to my semi, it's freaky, man. And I've probably seen 20 accidents in the last year. Now they did just repave this little chunk, which is really bad because you can see how many chunks of the guardrail have been blown out here. So pretty bad. All right, so for us going down, our speed limit is 60 miles an hour again. I set the cruise, and I want to see if you can see these damn ruts. Oh, see? And if you're doing conventional towing, I'm telling you, that'll cause you to have whip. I don't care what kind of stabilizing hit you have, whatnot, it's going to cause you to have whip, and it's just dangerous. So, all right. So we got the cruise control set. We are going to let the truck do its thing, and see how many brake applications I have versus the Ford. I remember going on the steeper side of the Ike Gauntlet. I had the cruise control set. We had about 5 brake applications. I actually had to speed this truck up coming into Silverthorne because it had slowed itself down so much. It had 3 brake applications. I don't think touching your brake 3 times is any or even 5 times is a bad thing. So far coming out of here, transmission doing the Ike got up to 208. It dropped down quickly to 190. Engine temp never seems to move. And I have touched the brake 0 times coming out of the Ike eastbound. So like I said, coming down the westbound, it is a steeper descent. So that one kind of puts it in perspective. It's a steep 8-mile run. But other than that, you know, again, we're not commercial motor vehicles, so we can get up to 60 if that's what you want to do. That guy wants to do 60, I don't really care. Again, those brakes on the trailers, depending on how you've set your trailer up, those are going to create a lot of heat in those drums, and that will then transfer later to the so again, all of those brake applications and everything, they're gonna transfer into the hubs, the brake drums, the tires, and everything like that. And depending on the size of your tire, you just may not even be supposed to be doing the speed that you're doing, the speed limit, because you have to keep that vehicle within check. So that's just kind of how I look at it, guys. I mean, so it's easier for me. The Ike Gauntlet is an 8-mile run up. It's about on the eastbound side. On the eastbound side, it seems like it's a little bit longer, but it's not as steep. So say it's 8 miles down on the steep side and 12 miles down to Georgetown on this side. That's a short time to just use your cruise control, lock it in at a lower speed, even though it says we can do 65, and just come down the hill and let the truck do all of its things. I don't even remember yesterday on the descent on the Ford, but we'll dig through the notes in the final thoughts video and say how many brake applications. I did say in that video how many I had. Right now in the Chevy, I've had 0. So I will check, you know, in comparison to going down the westbound side, you know, it was 4. So you're like, okay, well, geez. 4 applications, so you can just see the difference. But you know, this side, if we have 0 because we managed speed before we needed to use the brakes, that's pretty good. Definitely save you brake jobs and whatnot in the future. But yeah, I mean, this thing is literally slowing itself down so much, probably could push the throttle, get it up there. Me personally, I don't really care whatever everybody else is doing behind me. They can pass me, they can do whatever. But I went ahead and kicked it up to like 58. I had it set at 50 because, again, I don't like these ruts right here. You can see them. The road, maybe if I pick it up a little bit, you can see them. The tracking of your trailer wheels is probably going to be wider than your car, so you may not be feeling that in your car, but your trailer only needs to grab it one time, and then you're over the edge over there. So to me, it's easier to just take this part of I-70 a little bit slower. But no matter what speed, I feel the truck did just fine in that. And then once we get done with the descent, the last video is the wrap up going into Denver, where we'll kind of talk about stuff. And I know somebody asked a while back, they said, well, why didn't you show fuel economy going up the Ike? Because that is not enough you know, data to get a conclusive thing. If you're going to use the little meter down here, it's going to be abysmal because you reset at the bottom. By the time you get to the top, it can't be good. It wouldn't even be good in a diesel. It might be better in the gas, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, you know. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to do a totality of that. And I was pleasantly surprised yesterday with what came up in the Ford, and I will be very surprised what comes up in the Chevy, just because, again, what goes up must come down. So, you know, we need to make sure we give a fair representation, so the more miles we can put under it will give you a total view of what you might get when you're running through the mountains, period, you know. Not just a little short jaunt. I mean, to me, that's not a good piece of data for me. But we did establish that it ran the test in 7 minutes. It's fine, it's good, whatever. So is what it is. But we're almost down to Georgetown. I even picked up the speed, and we can see the engine temp never seems to change. The transmission temp is down to 174. I've had 0 brake applications coming down this side of the mountain. So add in an exhaust brake and you're probably going to be pushing the throttle. So alright guys, so as we wrap up the eastbound downhill run from the Ike Gauntlet with the Chevy Gasser, I am almost to where I kind of stopped counting brake applications and everything like that. I'll try and keep in mind, because I'm interested in knowing something on my wrap up here, and that'll be the last video before my final thoughts video, where we will break down all the data, put it all into one video. But hopefully, you know, putting all these together, it can put some perspective in and give you the information you need when it comes to potentially buying a heavy-duty truck, whether it be gas or diesel. Again, just imagine the diesel being, if you're talking power-wise, maybe a little bit better fuel economy, but obviously have a little bit better power, and you will have an engine or an exhaust brake when it comes to that, whatever you want to call it. We use those synonymously. But overall, my test is also about control, abilities, and things that might make the truck better than the other when it comes to stuff. So, I'm sorry there. I didn't know what the hell that guy was going to do. Again, a lot goes into getting a towing vehicle for your needs, and one thing I want to stress is I can go as fast as I want, no matter what vehicle I'm in. I'll go as fast as the speed limit will allow me, all right? And the Gassers today can do the speed limit. They can do all of that. So when we're thinking about what makes a truck better than the other, is I want to know, when it's hitting these ruts in the road, how does the steering feel? I want to know, is it jerking me all around? Does it seem to have better trailer sway control? I mean, we put Timbrins on here, so there is a little bit of advantage over a stock one, but that's only a $250 upgrade, and most of y'all won't need that until your trailer gets over, say, 10,000. I definitely recommend that. But how does it do slowing itself down? How does it, you know, steer? How does the, you know, brakes feel if we need to get into them? There's a lot more to it than just saying how fast can it go up this hill at this certain point in time. And although that's cool data, it's not, if I was somebody on the fence trying to make a decision and I'm not brand loyal, that's what these videos are about. So as we come into Georgetown, where I end the downhill descent, I will check brake temps and I will report those back to you before the end of the video. So stay tuned for 1 second, guys. All right, guys, as we wrap up this video, I just stopped and checked brake temps. I had 0 brake applications coming down the east side of the Ike Gauntlet. Again, that's probably because I used my cruise control. I set it lower than the speed limit. Speed limit was 60 to 65 at certain points. I set it at 50. And even coming into Georgetown, it never got above 60 miles per hour. So that's usually, once we hit 10 miles an hour over where I have it set, that's where I'd scrub speed, but it held it there, and I actually got down to the chain up area and checked it. My brake temp was actually lower than just normal everyday driving. It was 121 degrees. So brakes were ice cold on the trailer, so those weren't used at all coming down the hill. And I think that's fantastic. So big plus there. Bravo to the Allison. Guys, we will have a wrap-up video in this series, and then we'll also have my final thoughts where we go over all the data and see who wins the Battle of the Rockies. See you on the next one.